welcome to this episode of Voodu Warlock 2023. I am level 18, and I'm going to be doing the base 16 Cogs quests on R1 for this episode. Since the last episode, the only thing I've done is Heroic Shroud Flagger, so that's Coalescence Chamber, Let Sleeping Dust Lie, Rainbow in the Dark, Ritual Sacrifice, Running with the Devils. Did them on R1, easy breezy, no big whoop. For the gear, the only piece of gear that I picked up would be the Mysterious Bauble. That is a level 18. I mean, it's a trinket. You can wear it, but you wouldn't really want to. There's lots of better trinkets. The main point of this is that it's a clicky that gives one use of major mnemonic aid per rest. That's like a major mana pot. And this comes from the end chest of the weapon shipment in Amarath, old school Amarath quest. You know, really, even though this is not a high spell point usage build, it's definitely nice to have that as a backup. So that's a piece of gear I would recommend on any caster. Very farmable, solo farmable. Let's see, on the enhancement side, there's my character sheet. On the enhancement side, I just picked up I put some points in Soul Eater just to add a little bit of extra DPS. I will respec out of that later and spend those points probably in the shifter tree. Probably be backing out some of the points here later on. That's where things are for now. Just show you where the skills are. And let's see, at level 18, I took Greater Shield Mastery for my feat. Nothing new to show in the Reaper. Trees won't be able to spend any more points in here until level 21 with Core 4 and Tier 4. So there will be a level 19 episode. But normally I'm not really at 19 for any amount of time. We're going to be heading to Scavenger Hunt first. And the reason is because, you know, normally I didn't do Sharn Chain 1. So like I said, I've been trying to focus on doing quests that, this is my final life, trying to pick up favor for a lot of these quests that, you know, don't have epic and legendary counterparts. Like Veil quests, for example. Yeah, I know I'm going to do Sharn Chain 1 and 2 at legendary. That's where we're going right there. The sewer access point. So usually at these level range, you know, 17 and 18, I'm doing Sharn Chain 1 and 2, you know, all the cogs. And by the time I finish all that, you know, I'm kissing level 20. So I'm not really doing any base 17s. If I'm a little bit behind in XP, sometimes I'll do like a Sane Asylum. It's a quick one, some quick XP there. But there's a lot of base 17s, 18s, 19s that don't have epic and legendary counterparts that I'm going to be focusing on once I take 19. We'll talk about that when we get there. It's a late one here. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning, which is way past my bedtime, but it's Saturday night. So if I sound a little tired, well, that's why. I usually try to get in bed. My target bedtime is 11:30. I rarely make that during the week, but I try. Make sure my Shining Through is active. A lot of mobs all over the place in this first big room here. So I think I'm just going to chain shape it up and burst all over the mobs that get near me. Even throw an Arcane Tempest there, huh? And just let the chain shape bounce around between the mobs that don't want to kite. There is a secret passage here. Oops, still got mobs. There's an orange name that if you kill them, you get an extra chest at the end. It's just a junk chest, but hey. You know, it's a chest. But I don't think I'm going to be able to find it. No, True Seeing doesn't pick it up. And I don't have any search skills, so we're going to have to let that extra chest go. I want my collectibles. I can't remember if I talked much about Misty Escape that I picked up at level 15, but I really, really love Misty Escape. That's you get that at level 15 for the Bay Pact. And I really like it over most other abundant step-like abilities because it actually makes you incorporeal. And you can literally move through mobs when you use it, which can be really nice as a tank. Sometimes as a tank you find yourself, blocked in by mobs. You can't move. Maybe you're pinned against the wall, or maybe you're just surrounded, on all sides and you can't move. And sometimes you need to get out. Whether it's an emergency, you just need to get away from the hits, or you need to get over to some different mobs to grab their aggro. With things like, Leap of Faith and Abundant Step, you can't move through mobs. But with Misty Escape, you can literally move right through them. There's mobs blocking a doorway or something like that. You can move right through them. I'll use it right now. I moved right through that audio. Scavenger Hunt. Easy peasy. And ding 19. Now for a lot of folks, it's anathema to take 19. I've always taken 19. Even back in the day. Yeah, it's really old school thinking, in my opinion, though. But some people, old habits die hard. And the philosophy back in the day is you wanted to stay 18 because, you wanted to be able to rerun Veil with your friends or whatever. You might be sitting at 18 for a while, but now, I'm not at 19 for very long at all. So might as well take it. I might do 1 or 2 quests at the most. Alright, so here's Magma Must Flow, but I just want to show you here a little tip for you. If you're ever coming along here, you're jumping for that elevator to bring you across or whatever, and you fall, and you're like, man, what do I do now? Recall out? Panic? Nah. All you need to do, I'm going to do some blue fire shield to give me 50% fire absorption. Just come right over here. Check it out. There's a path right behind the lava fall that goes right up. Hell yeah. You just walk right up the path, swim up through the lava, and you're good to go. And that's a little tip from your Uncle Voodu. And here I can use chain shape if these, fire elementals don't want to come over to me. It's fine. If you want, you can go over the catwalk. There are mobs up there that don't need to be aggroed, though. So if you want to, get across without going through the lava and without going over the catwalk and aggroing those mobs, then you just come over here and jump on the side over these. Bam. Sometimes they're collectible. Don't look like there's one right now. Still Cove chest. Hell yeah. Well, there's a bug with this quest it's good to be aware of. This is one of those cart before the horse bugs that, you know, we're just seeing more and more of them in the game where, like, say you got to kill a mob, but the objective to kill the mob doesn't appear until you walk into a room, for example. So, like, what you can do is you can aggro that guy. Let's see if I can demonstrate it. All right, so if you aggro that guy, watch. I can kill him here. Notice how the objective to kill him isn't there. Okay? It's not going to appear until I walk into this room. Now it says defeat the Magma Reaver, right? If I had killed him over there before I walked into the room and triggered that objective, then the quest would become incompletable. Because I would have killed him over there, and then I would have walked into this room, and then it would say kill the Magma Reaver, and I couldn't kill the Magma Reaver because the Magma Reaver is already dead. I couldn't satisfy the objective. And unfortunately, they don't do any kind of retroactive check with their objectives. This is just one of those situations where the objective isn't truly tied to what it actually is. It doesn't say walk into the next room. It says kill the Magma Reaver. And you're like, I already did that. But, the objective to kill it doesn't appear until you walk over here. So it's just a good bug to be aware of. Nobody likes repeating quests. You can do red fire shield here if you're worried about, as a champion ice flenser down there, he's going to throw, freaking polar ray in your face, man. That can hurt. You don't need that kind of action. Give him the old tentacles. No problem. There's nothing to do with that guy in the ice. Seems like there should be something, but there's not. Give him the old Arcane Tempest and Tentacles routine. Sweat Ace. Tentacles for these folks too. Hell yeah. 2 more. Next, we're going to go to a security detail in the north. That lava's a killer. Especially in hardcore, because it's just coded poorly, and you sit there and you bounce and you bounce and bounce and you take a bunch of damage, and it's really frustrating. I can't believe that they haven't changed that. It's so ridiculous that you bounce up and down in it like that. And with the number of people that have probably been killed in hardcore, it's just to make this kind of progress, to get this far in hardcore and die to something stupid like that is horribly frustrating. This is the way I like to go to security detail. There's different ways you can navigate the cogs. This is the way I like to go. in the order that I like to do them. So these guys can be really painful on like High Skull Reaper. Sometimes I like to run in here, grab that initial aggro, and just hide behind a wall while everybody else blows them up. You can kill them pretty quickly. I won't have DPS to kill them quickly in High Skull Legendary, but other people will. And if I grab that initial aggro, then that way they're not getting force blasted. Force is a challenging damage type to mitigate, so they can be pretty painful, especially you get some of those champion floaty balls, like this jerk here. Of course, it's just R1, so it's no big whoop, but you know. Been running some Crystal Cove. I haven't done that in about 8 years, since the bottomless flask of rum came out. But they came out with some new stuff this year. Higher level versions of stuff, level 32 versions of stuff. And a handful of new items, weapons, and augments. So these guys will only explode on whoever they're aggroed on, right? And an easy way to deal with them, even in like High Skull Legendary Reaper or whatever, instead of sitting there trying to DPS them or something, just get near them so that it triggers that they explode and keep moving past them. See, there's plenty of time for you to trigger their explosion and keep moving. You don't even get hit by it. I like to do this optional just because, you can get breakables. Sometimes people like to use things like Meteor Swarm or other AoEs that can break things through walls. That's fine. And you'll get an extra chest out of this too, just a junk chest. Go ahead and give them the Arcane Tempest action. And if I were doing High Skull Reaper, Legendary, I'd probably do this other optional too. And the reason why is because the end fight has like 500,000 Forge Wraiths in it, and it can very easily get out of hand, right? And when the end fight gets out of hand, you end up retreating down here. Well, these jerks can hit you with their Force Blast right through the barrier. So if your end fight gets out of hand, you got to retreat down here. You don't need those guys hitting you with their damn Force Burst on top of the fact that you're running away from 500,000 Forge Wraiths. So, I like to just take a moment to come in here and clear this out. And hey, I'm going to get an extra chest out of it, right? I'm getting an extra chest out of it, except it's locked and I can't get it. But, if there's someone in your party that could unlock it, you get the extra chest and then you get that extra level of safety in case things go sideways in the end fight. I'm going to go ahead and put on a blue fire shield, give me 50% fire damage mitigation. Forge Wraiths do a lot of fire damage, and I want to try to hit all these levers to spawn the mage fire cannons. That will help distract the Forge Wraiths. Is that a double Reaper spawn? Fear Reaper and a Famine Reaper. I'm going to put on my spell absorption while that Famine Reaper's there. We'll give them the old Arcane Tempest, and the Reapers go bye-bye. And I could even, I could have backed out, let the Forge Race aggro on the Mage Fire Cannons instead of me. That would have been preferable, but it's just R1, so I don't care. But let's see if we can just demonstrate that. Okay, that guy's still aggroed on me, probably because my aura of menace. That grabs aggro from afar sometimes. But you can see some of the other Forge race just aggroed on the Magefire cannons. If you're soloing or whatever, and you know, for whatever reason, you just don't want all that aggro. There you go. In both my spell power boosts, Arcane Tempest, and Everett's Black Tentacles. The tentacles, of course, won't have any crowd control effect on them because you're a red name, but it still does damage. Bada bing, bada boom. Now that jerk can hit you with his flamethrower from outside of the room, so just be aware that when you are looting this chest, he can hit you. If I was standing a little bit further over there, I've seen people get jacked by that when they're looting, so don't let that happen to you. Alright, next we're going to go do roll call, and I'm going to port right to Acorns Forge. That's the raid staging area. Now it's a little bit confusing because if you talk to the guide outside of the cogs and you tell him you want to go to Acorns Forge, he doesn't take you here. He takes you to, like, over there. In any event, we're just going to go out the east exit here. That's the area that the raids are located in. That I was just in. That's a public zone. That's where Project Nemesis and Two Out to Handle are located. And I'm just going to scoot south here, and roll call is right there. This is one that, you know, when you're new to this zone, a lot of people struggle to find this one. It's pretty well hidden. People walk right by it because down such a dark alley that it doesn't even look like it would be anything. Right, people are coming along here, they're not watching the map, they quickly look over there, it's so dark, they think it's nothing, and they just keep going, they go right by it. But this is actually a place you can go to, and here's the quest right here. Okay, I actually reset the instance once because I like doing the left pipe. There's two different instances of this dungeon. That pipe can be open or that pipe. So I prefer the left pipe just because it's one less fight and I'm more familiar with the pathing. This quest can be very confusing. It can be really nice if you have somebody in the party that has the bloody footprints, because that way everybody can just follow the footprints. But since I'm floating now, and I forgot to talk about that, my bloody footprints don't show up when I'm floating. But there's my bloody footprints when I'm walking. But because I have my snooty, you know, I'm too good for my feet to touch the ground Warlock stance on, I don't leave bloody footprints anymore when I'm floating. But I did forget to talk about this, so let's talk about it now. Celestial Spirit, major form toggle. When enabled, you float above the ground, gain feather falling, immune to most knockdown effects, and your Eldritch Blast gain 3d6 light damage, and your Eldritch Aura affects enemies every 2 seconds now. So the aura is proccing at its maximum rate now of every 2 seconds. Wouldn't it be nice if we had like a Warlock Destiny and, you know, they made it, you know, in that Destiny so that the aura could go every 1 second or something. Man, they've been talking about a Warlock Destiny basically ever since Warlocks came out, and they continue to say, you know, with this new Destiny system they want to do it, but don't hold your breath. They've been talking about it for 7 years. I'd really like to see them do it, but I don't want to get my hopes up. But it's worth mentioning that they have, even this year, expressed interest in doing a Warlock-themed Epic Destiny. So this is a major form toggle, so it's going to be incompatible with other major form toggles. I'm struggling to think of others. I think maybe like the thing in Tier 5 Azamar that gives you like the extra hit points and all that stuff. I think that's a major form toggle and incompatible. I think, yeah, I can't remember the other stuff, but it's just good to be aware that it is a major form toggle and you can only have, you know, the one major form at a time. This is like the hamster tube dungeon. I always thought it'd be funny if they did a dungeon like this where the tubes were clear, like a hamster tube maze. Talk to the lost student, and then I can do the lever. Talk to the lost student. Hold the lever. We're not going to go down there. Just going to go back the way we came. Now this door is open because we pulled that lever. One of the frustrating things about this quest is that mobs can hit you with some of those like force blasts and things from like outs. Like you could be in the tubes and they're out here and they can hit you through the tube walls. So it can be frustrating if things start to go sideways in one of these rooms. These rooms can get pretty nasty on higher skull. Things get out of control. You need to do a little tactical retreat. You go through the tubes and they're hitting you right through the walls with those force shots. Another thing that can be frustrating is that, you know, if you get a Vengeance Reaper, you know, when a Vengeance Reaper dies, any mobs near it, you know, probably something like a 75-foot radius, maybe bigger, they get a buff that makes them do 500% damage, right? Well, that AoE will go right through the wall, so, you know, if you pull a Vengeance Reaper back into the tubes, you think it's safe to kill it, you know, it could be buffing mobs and you don't even realize it, and you come into the next room and it's like, oh crap, all the, you know, the mobs are all Vengie buffed, you know, because this room is close to another room that we were in earlier or something like that, you know. But this one has a tendency to get out of hand pretty easily. Talk to the lost student, then the lever unlocks. There is an extra chest down there. I'm not going to bother. Shrine if you need it. Both my spell power boosts, Arcane Tempest, Tentacles. No sweat. And now we gotta do a little mirror puzzle. And turn the light on. Light switch at the door. We just need to direct the laser to the relay crystal there. You can see the mirror moving at the top of my screen on the ceiling when I pull this lever to my side. The color of the signal crystal at the lever corresponds to the color of the signal crystal next to the mirrors. Bam. Now I can talk to this guy. And we win. And that's the base 16 cogs. Any questions, you can make a comment in this video. You can also make a comment in my build post in the Warlock forums. And as always, I welcome you to stop by the live stream and ask questions there. We'll see you soon.